in a lush Hawaiian village nestled between emerald mountains and a crescent shore where palm trees swayed and the air hummed with the scent of plumeria, lived a girl named Lilani. The village of Kaulua was small, its people bound by aloha and the rhythms of the sea. Since childhood, she'd wander to the shore, her toes sinking into warm sand, gazing at the endless waves. Titter taught Lilani to honor the ocean, to never use her gift for pride or gain. The sea gives and the sea takes, Titter would say, her voice like the rustle of tea leaves. You walk its paths, but you must listen to its heart. Lilani said nothing of her deed, but Titter Mele saw the truth in her granddaughter's quiet smile. But as a guardian of the ocean's heart, she continued to walk the waves in secret, learning the sea's stories, protecting its balance. The villagers never knew the full truth, but they told tales of a spirit who danced on the water, keeping Kaulua safe. You've honored the sea, Titter whispered, and it will honor you. One moonless night, when she was 10, she stepped onto the water's edge, and instead of sinking, her feet found purchase. The ocean held her as if she were a leaf on a still pond. It was no work of nature, but of outsiders, a forgotten fishing trap left to strangle the sea. Lilani dove, her gift letting her glide through the water as easily as she walked its surface. With a knife from her belt, she cut the net, freeing the fish and coral. The ocean pulsed with gratitude, and she felt Maka's presence, a warm current wrapping around her. She walked, light and sure, across the waves, her laughter mingling with the sea's song. The village elders called it a blessing from Namaka, the goddess of the sea, though some whispered it was a curse, a power too great for a girl to wield. They fished at dawn, wove nets at dusk, and told stories under starlit skies. But Lilani was different, whispered about in hushed tones, for she carried a gift as mysterious as the ocean itself. Nets came back empty, and the children's laughter grew faint with hunger. The elders prayed to Kanaloa, god of the ocean, but the tides offered no answers. Lilani, watching her people's whirring deepen, felt the sea calling her. At night, while the village slept, she slipped to the shore and stepped onto the water. The waves cradled her, guiding her far beyond the reef, to a place where the ocean breathed differently. Lilani, barely 16, had eyes like polished koa wood and a spirit as wild as the trade winds. Her gift was kept secret, shared only with her grandmother, Titter Mele, a kahuna who knew the old ways. One summer, the village faced a crisis. The fish, once plentiful, vanished from the reefs. There, beneath the stars, she saw a shadow in the depths, a massive net, tangled and unnatural, choking the coral and trapping the fish. When she returned, the fish followed. The next dawn, the village nets overflowed, and the people sang with joy. Word of the miracle spread, and though Lilani's gift remained a secret, the village began to see her differently, not as a strange girl. And so, Lilani grew, her gift a quiet bond between her and the sea, a reminder that even the smallest among us can carry the strength of the ocean within. In the village of Kaulua, nestled between the verdant cliffs and the sapphire embrace of the Pacific, life had returned to its gentle rhythm. The fish had come back to the reefs, thanks to Lilani's secret night of freeing the ocean from the forgotten net. Titter had taught her to listen to the sea's voice, to respect its power, and to guard her gift from those who might fear or exploit it. The ocean chose you, Keiki, Titter would say, her eyes crinkling like the edges of a worn tapa cloth. But its gifts come with burdens. The villagers sang as they mended nets, their laughter echoing through the palms, and the children played once more, their bellies full. The ocean held her as always, its surface firm beneath her bare feet, but the air felt thick, charged with a coming storm. It was no creature, but a vessel, a sunken ship, its hull encrusted with barnacles and coral. The water around it shimmered unnaturally, streaked with an oily sheen that stung Lilani's senses. She needed help, but revealing her gift could fracture the village's trust. At dawn, she saw Titter, who listened with a furrowed brow. "This is no simple task," Titter said. When they reached the wreck's location, Koa and Lani dove, their breaths held long from years of practice. "We can't move the barrels, but we can mark the spot and warn the village. Maybe the elders know someone who can help." Koa and Lani, checking the wreck, found the barrels gone, assuming the sea had taken them. They hailed Leilani as a hero for finding the wreck, though Koa still watched her with narrowed eyes. She walked the waves at night, listening for the sea's next call, her heart torn between her love for Kalua and the weight of her gift. The village saw her as a quiet girl, but the ocean knew her as its guardian, a bridge between land and sea, bound to answer its deepest cries. The village held a feast, giving thanks to Kanaloa and Namaka, unaware of Leilani's silent role. Leilani nodded, hiding her relief. She'd hoped to avoid using her gift openly, but the sea's pain gnawed at her. "You've carried a heavy burden, Keiki," she said, placing a hand on Leilani's shoulder. The sea will not forget. That night, alone, she returned to the wreck, walking the waves under a crescent moon. The pendant pulsed, and she dove again, this time feeling Maka's strength in her limbs. She tied ropes from the canoe around the barrels, pulling them free one by one, letting the current carry them to a sandy shoal where they could do no harm. They confirmed the barrels, their faces grim as they surfaced. "It's bad," Lani said, wiping water from her eyes. "The fish are gone from this place, the corals dying. The ocean's sickness could reach our shores, but your gift must remain hidden. We need allies who trust the old ways." The sea's voice grew louder, a cry of pain, and she knew this wreck was poisoning the deep, its strange cargo seeping into the currents that fed Kalua's reefs. She walked, guided by the sea's pull, past the coral reefs and into the open water where the waves rose like rolling hills. The pendant glowed faintly, lighting her path through the murky depths. The ship was old, its wood splintered, its metal rusted, but inside its hold she found barrels leaking a dark, viscous liquid. Leilani, careful not to speak of her gift, told them of the sunken ship and its poison, claiming she'd seen it while swimming near the reef. Koa, broad-shouldered and skeptical, crossed his arms. "How does a girl find a wreck so far out?" he asked, his voice sharp. Lani, quicker to trust, elbowed him. "If the sea's in trouble, we listen. Let's go." The ocean's pain was sharp here, a wound that threatened to spread. She couldn't move the barrels alone. They were too heavy, too many, but she could feel the sea urging her to act. Hours passed, the stars her only companions, until she reached a place where the ocean seemed to hold its breath. Yet Leilani, now 16 and a half, felt a stirring in her heart, a whisper from the sea that grew louder with each passing moon. Leilani's gift, her ability to walk on the ocean as surface, as if it were solid ground, remained known only to her grandmother, Titter Mele, the village kahuna. One evening, as the sun painted the sky in hues of hibiscus and gold, Leilani sat on the shore, her toes tracing patterns in the sand. The waves seemed restless, their rhythm uneven, like a heartbeat out of sync. She closed her eyes, letting the sea's voice wash over her. It wasn't a song of gratitude this time, but a low, urgent hum pulling her toward the horizon. Something was wrong far beyond the reef, in the deep waters where even the bravest fishermen dared not venture. That night, under a sky pricked with stars, Leilani confided in Titter. "The ocean's calling me," she said, her voice trembling with both fear and resolve. "The deep ocean is Maka's domain," she said. "If she calls, you must answer, but you cannot go unprepared." From a woven basket, Titter pulled a small pendant, a polished pearl set in a spiral of coral, said to be blessed by the sea goddess herself. "Wear this, Leilani. It will guide you when the waves grow dark. It's not like before. It's heavy, like a warning." Tit's face grew solemn, her hands tightening around her walking stick, carved with images of Honu and sharks. With the pendant around her neck, Leilani waited until the village slept, then stepped onto the water. There, in the deep, she saw a massive shadow, larger than any whale, moving sluggishly beneath the surface. Leilani dove, her gift letting her glide through the water as effortlessly as she walked its surface. Returning to the surface, Leilani walked back to Kaulua, her mind racing. Titter called a meeting with two of the village's most skilled fishermen, Koa and Lani, a brother and sister known for their courage and love of the sea. The three set out in a canoe, guided by Leilani's memory of the sea's call. Koa, still wary of Leilani, devised a plan. By morning, the ocean's voice was calmer, though not fully healed. Leilani returned to Kaulua, exhausted but unnoticed. Titter, however, saw the weariness in Leilani's eyes and the faint glow of the pendant. As the weeks passed, the reefs began to heal, and the fish returned, though Leilani knew the ocean's recovery would take time.